and gentlemen, it is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all today on November 12th. And not many exciting games of NBA basketball last night. I got to be fully honest with y'all. We had a couple entertaining games, but they were mostly blowouts. I think the more entertaining games are going to be tonight. But don't y'all worry, because I brought an extremely entertaining segment and topics for us to talk about in today's podcast. First, we're going to break down the one entertaining game from last night. Then we're going to discuss Nico Harrison being fired and what's next for the Dallas Mavericks. And then we're going to do the segment that we used 2 weeks ago when I discussed on whether or not this trend is going to continue. Okay, so I would like to start off by saying, if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps me more than you could possibly ever understand. And if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to drop a like, as well as TikTok. We are doing this live again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Do not miss the live stream so you can attend and you can talk during all of this as well. Okay, so be sure to drop a like on YouTube and TikTok. It helps more than you guys could possibly understand. Now that we got all that mess out of the way, you guys know the drill. We had to start with the most entertaining game from last night, and it's the Philadelphia 76ers surviving against Boston's third quarter explosion and comeback. Now, like I said, the games last night were not that entertaining. I got to be fully honest with everybody here. The 76ers have been doing what they do best, and that's choke games away. 76ers offense is good, but not efficient, if that makes sense. Other than their three-pointers, nothing that they do is efficient. Boston scored 36 points in the third quarter, but then Philly did it in the fourth quarter. They outscored them 31-23. And overall, it was not a good Tyrese Maxey game. It was not a good VJ Edgecombe game. I think he's starting to hit that rookie wall now. So that rookie wall is doing him in. But they got saved by somebody who, I got to admit, I did not know who he was until before this game. Justin Edwards. I knew there was an Edwards on the Philadelphia team. I did not know his first name was Justin. Justin Edwards started this game off 8 for 8 from the field and 5 for 5 from three-point land. He missed his last three. That happened. So be it. They got the offensive rebound. Kelly Oubre got it, put it back in. They ended up winning the game because of that play, because on the very next play, the last play of the game, I think there were less than 10 seconds left. The Boston Celtics inbounded it to Jaylen Brown. He had the ball, passed it up to Derek White, and Derek White fumbled the ball. I guess Andre Drummond suddenly plays clamps on defense, tipped the ball. He fell to the corner of the half court and he just threw up a prayer from half court with 3 seconds left. And Neemias Queta caught it because it was an air ball. He caught it and he had time to just dunk it down. Instead, he grabbed it and just tried laying it up. I don't know what happened, but he did not even go for an actual dunk. He didn't try scoring. I think he thought that there was more time on the clock. I don't know what he thought. But he had time to tie the game up, and he missed that putback, and the 76ers win. So the 76ers are beating Boston in their season series so far 2-1. One more game I think they'll play later into the season. Overall, I'd say this game was very, very, very entertaining. You had Drummond getting another double-double. Whenever he gets at least 25 minutes, he's going to get you a nice double-double. Drummond doing his thing in year 14 or 15. Tyrese Maxey, 21 points. He was a -6 in the court, 5 for 17 from the field. So probably, arguably, one of his worst games of the season so far. VJ Edgecombe, 2 for 11. Not a good game, 6 points. Not a good game at all. And I know what 76ers fans are saying. I see them on Twitter losing their minds all the time. This is why Philly fans, you can't really argue with them, because they're just going to start cussing you out. Kelly Oubre Jr. is a great defensive player. He's athletic. He moves his feet. He's fun to watch. But overall, 76ers fans hate him. And I don't understand how you could hate somebody so attractive. That, first and foremost, I don't get it. With somebody that attractive, you would think that the entire fan base would be glazing him, but they're not. Yeah, that's 2 games in a row for VJ Edgecombe that he's just not playing that well right now. And, you know, the rookie wall exists. He started off hot, feeding off that momentum, and now it's starting to, that rookie walls get into him. It happens to every great rookie. And I think Cooper Flagg started with his rookie wall, and now he's moving. We'll talk about the Mavs later. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Right? I don't want to do that so soon. So when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers as a team, you begin to truly question the integrity of this team. Because at the same time, yes, they're 7-4. They're not a bad team, but you start noticing the flaws more and more each game. Tyrese Maxey's not going to be able to be doing what he did at the first 2 weeks of the season. That's not going to happen. That's not sustainable. I talked about it not being a trend. They're starting to drop every other game right now, and that's why their record is 7-4. They started on that nice win streak, but the overall team just doesn't have enough, and that's why they have a Joel Embiid, they have a Paul George, and with those players returning, I don't know if they'll ever play back-to-backs. I don't know if they'll ever play consistently again, but they still have them. I said it last year, Tyrese Maxey wasn't capable of leading his own team. He wasn't capable of it last year. He ended up getting hurt because he was playing too much. Well, he did beef up. He did get stronger. He did get better. But unfortunately, this is way too many minutes for a point guard right now. A point guard that needs to lead his team. It's just last year it was a surprise. This year he knew going in. Now, Quentin Grimes does what he does with 18 points off the bench. But as I said, this game was saved by Justin Edwards. 22 points, and he started 8 for 8 shooting is absolutely incredible. I saw somebody in the Twitch stream just ask, did the TikToker play? Jared McCain, 7 minutes. Jared McCain, I think, has played 30 minutes so far this season, and he's 0 for 9. He has not had a singular field goal in his 30 minutes he's played. I don't know what Nick Nurse is doing. Is he healthy? Why is he averaging like 5 minutes a game? He doesn't look in the best of shape. He doesn't look as eager as he did last year. I think this team's got too many guards, and I think he's just lost his place, unfortunately. I mean, they got VJ Edgecombe. They got Tyrese Maxey. Kelly Oubre is essentially their shooting guard / small forward, but in crunch time, they've been using him as shooting guard. They have Quentin Grimes, and then you also have Justin Edwards now, who's actually being a performer. Jared McCain sort of loses his spot here, which is very unfortunate. I don't know how much longer the 76ers are going to be without a consistent Joel Embiid and a Paul George. But right now, I don't like what they have. And as far as the other side goes, the Boston Celtics, I mean, Jaylen Brown, 24 points, 8 for 18, no hairlines rubbed on any Philadelphia players. Derek White, I just have to say, holy. Derek White, man, I was so wrong about you. I said going into this year, a couple players this season have a lot of attention. I said for the Indiana Pacers, Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, because their star player was hurt. I said Cooper Flagg because their star player was hurt. Both their star players are hurt. And then I said Derek White and Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics. My God, was I wrong about Derek White. I did not realize how much he needs Jason Tatum next to him. Derek White is not a number 2. He's a number 3 at best. He's a number 3 because when he's got normal attention, when you don't have Jason Tatum getting doubled and tripled in the post and then just swinging the ball to a wide open Derek White, he's going to give you a 7 for 20 shooting night, 4 for 11 from deep. Derek White is shooting 21% from 3 this season. I know that's not going to stay, but that is not good. Derek White has not been good at all this year. 7 for 20 from the field, 4 for 11 from deep. And then another guy, Peyton Pritchard, who was given the reins at starting point guard. Looks like there's another guy that needs to have other stars on the floor. Peyton Pritchard. What is happening? Weren't you just 6-man? 2 for 9, 1 for 5 from deep? Peyton Pritchard is a backup. We've said this about TJ McConnell a bunch. TJ McConnell, Peyton Pritchard, these guys are backup PGs. They can't do it when they're playing 31 to 36 minutes a night. This just is not working. What I will say positively about the Boston Celtics is Jordan Walsh gave them a lot. 29 minutes last night, and I think he did great on Tyrese Maxey. That's where his assignment was. Jordan Walsh, he did a great job on Tyrese Maxey. Anthony Simons, I somewhat would rather have him in the starting lineup. They're using him as like a bench spark plug, but I think you just swap Peyton Pritchard out for Anthony Simons and just let Peyton Pritchard go back to his bench role and let Anthony Simons come in and get some offense, because right now it's just, here you go, Jaylen Brown, do your thing. And if Jaylen Brown doesn't do his thing, they don't score. So that's what I would agree with the YouTube chat right now. They said Pritchard took one step forward last season, then took 3 steps back this season. And I fully agree. Unfortunately, Peyton Pritchard just cannot be a starting point guard. I think he's great when he's utilized as a spark plug off the bench. So I think they should just swap him and Anthony Simons. Luka Garza, not really doing what they need. They don't have any good centers on this team. There's a reason why Neemias Queta was their 3rd center in the rotation, right? That is the reason why. Overall, what I'll say about the Boston Celtics is they're not really doing what we all sort of expected. I think most people have the Indiana Pacers and Boston Celtics at the 6 and 5 seed in the East for the playoffs, at worst a play-in team. I think Boston looks like at worst a play-in team. Indiana, listen, bro. So overall, I would say there's a couple things that you should take away from these two teams, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. Let's start with the 76ers very quickly, and then we'll move on to our next subject. Philadelphia needs Joel Embiid. This team will not make it far without Joel Embiid. If you're going to move on from Joel Embiid, guess what? You need a center that can actually pass the ball. Andre Drummond, I love you. I hope you come back to Detroit one day. But it's just not. This isn't it. You need your guy. You need your guy, Joel Embiid. You need him, because this team is not going to, they're gonna be a play-in team. Tyrese Maxey can only carry you so far. And then for the Boston Celtics, are we done disrespecting Jason Tatum? Are we done? I'm a big Jason Tatum guy. I love Jason Tatum. He's corny. He's cringy. But you know what he is? You know what else he is? A great freaking basketball player. Jason Tatum, the disrespect should end here. This team without Jason Tatum is barely a play-in team. Barely. Jason Tatum is quite literally a top 5 player in the NBA when healthy, and there's no debate about it. He is that talented of a guy. He is that good of a guy. The gravity that he demands as well, I'm not too worried about the Boston Celtics, because when you have a Jason Tatum as your superstar, all you got to do now is build around him. This is an off year. That's fine. Take that off year. Get a good pick. Make some trades. Other teams would love Anthony Simons. Hell, I know a team already that would want Anthony Simons. Hello, Charlotte. Charlotte, remember when you guys were talking to me in the first week of the season when you guys won 2 games? Charlotte, ring, 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 ring. You see why I don't talk about the Charlotte Hornets? It really sucks because I'm from Detroit. And now if I want to go watch a good game, I have to fly up to Detroit. And there's no point in even, like, the only Charlotte games I'm going to go to is the 2 that they're up against the Pistons later in the season. People were trying to talk to me about the Charlotte Hornets. What happened? LaMelo Ball is out for the season. Jay-Z, you said he's only out for 2 weeks. He's out for the season. And Brandon Miller can't play basketball without getting hurt. His body's made out of glass bones and paper skin. If you guys understand that reference, you're the real MVP. Let's move on. Let us move on to our next important topic. Breaking news. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison fired. Fired. I see the live crew asking if LaMelo Ball is actually out for the season. No, there's been no announcement, but just wait. Just wait. He's out for the season. Just wait. Nico Harrison finally fired from the Dallas. Sorry, I had Boston about it. From the Dallas Mavericks. And if you ask me, too little, too freaking late. You let this guy trade Luka Doncic because he was overweight. I apologize for screaming podcast listeners. I know that probably gave you a little jump scare. My apologies. What? You got, it's too late. It's too late. There was no point in firing this guy. You know what? I'll tell you why they fired Nico Harrison. There's a crucial component, live crew. There's a very crucial component as to why they fired Nico Harrison. It's because the Dallas Mavericks have decided Anthony Davis is injury prone and apparently overweight now. Again, my apologies, podcast listeners, for screaming. Yeah, that's right. Anthony Davis moved to Dallas. He's overweight now, and now he's as injury prone as he's always been. He had a season and a half of being healthy. It's too late. So, something that I want to talk about is, and I'm going to talk about it later on as well, in our very last topic of discussion. But Anthony Davis is going to be traded this year. He's going to be traded. I don't know to who. I don't know for what. But Anthony Davis is going to be traded. I'll tell you what, you're not going to get a Luka Doncic in return. I think what we're going to see moving forward is the Dallas Mavericks are going to blow it up. They're going to blow it up. I think it's over. I think this is how it's going to have to be. I think they fully admitted that this is what's going to happen. You traded Luka Doncic, okay? So let's decide what's going to happen now. Let me tell you. Kyrie Irving should be back at the beginning of like the calendar year. I'd say like February or March. It's over. Blow it up, because overall now you have Cooper Flagg, you have Derek Lively, you have Daniel. You have a lot of pieces. You got Daniel Gafford, you got Anthony Davis, you still have Kyrie Irving, you got PJ Washington, you got D'Lo. You got a lot of good, serviceable players that just cannot play together without a point guard. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to just blow it up. I know you got lucky with the first number one pick, but at this point, live crew, at this point, podcast listeners, I think it's time to finally end it. It's not working. It's not working. They traded Luka Doncic because Nico Harrison believes that defense wins championships, right? Defense wins championships. Well, funny enough, the Dallas Mavericks are ranked 29th in defense. So they may win defense does win championships, it does, but not 29th in the league. They are also 30th in offense. In case you guys don't know, there's 30 teams in the NBA. So they are 29th in defense, 30th in offense, 27th in assists, 29th in field goals made, 24th in field goals attempted, 30th in three-pointers made, 30th in three-pointer percentage. So when I tell you, and 28th in rebounding. So when I tell you how bad this team is, I haven't even gotten started yet. You have so many players that could help so many teams. Blow this thing up. Trade Klay Thompson to the Detroit Pistons. Trade Max Christie somewhere. Trade Derek Lively to the Los Angeles Lakers. Why not? Reunite him with Luka. I'm sure they're calling already. And trade Anthony Davis to a team that needs one final piece. That he doesn't need to be the guy anymore. Anthony Davis should not be the guy. If Anthony Davis is your guy, you know how it's going to end. With injuries, because he's doing too much. Okay? So, what's next for the Dallas Mavericks? I think they have to just decide to move on. I don't think there's another solution for this team to just continue at the pace that they're doing. The reason they fired Nico Harrison is because Nico Harrison can't trade Anthony Davis. I'm just being told right now that Anthony Davis has played 14 out of the 44 games for the Mavericks since they've had him. They had to fire Nico because he could not trade Anthony Davis, and he wasn't going to either. In a sense, I will say this, to give Nico some sort of credit. Just to look at him as a human being, I'll say this. It's unfortunate that we couldn't see his plan come to fruition. Kyrie got hurt because of his trade. Anthony Davis got hurt because of his trade. So all in all, it comes down to the horrendous decision making from Nico Harrison. The owners, I think his name is Dumont, he wanted to give Nico the reins because he didn't know anything about basketball. He didn't know anything about basketball, so he put it in Nico, and he gave Nico apparently Dumont didn't know how much the city loved Luka. Apparently he didn't know how good Luka Doncic was. Nico Harrison was doing a really good job until he traded Luka. So, one thing that I'll say is what's next for this team is I think it's time to just break it down, blow it up, build some assets, get some picks. Because here's the thing overall, y'all, and I need you guys to understand real quick. I need you all to understand. I'm getting a question right now. Jay-Z, if you were an NBA general manager, would you trade Luka? No, nobody would. Here's what I'll say is as the season progresses, right, you start to look at that trade with a magnifying glass, right? Because there has to be underlying reasons as to why he got traded. And if there is an underlying reason, I guarantee you we will never find out. We will never know. We will never know what the true reason was. Did Luka, did he get involved with somebody in his life? Did Luka call Nico dumb? Did Luka threaten Nico? Did Luka do something to make him? We'll never find that out. Maybe like when we're all old, maybe. But right now, it won't make it any better. Because even if he does tell us something underlying, that's not enough. That's not enough. Live Crew is asking me, do you think either Kyrie or AD are worth top picks anymore with their injury history? No, I don't. I don't think Anthony Davis is worth a first-round pick. I don't think Kyrie Irving is worth a first-round pick. They're both older. They're both recovering from injuries. Kyrie gets hurt. This isn't a new thing. The ACL is new. Anthony Davis has been getting hurt. He was healthy for a year and a half. Nico trading Luka because he was fat and lazy. He's lazy when he takes you to the finals. That's the thing. Nobody can say that because the year prior, he took you to the NBA finals. The year prior, he took you to the finals for the first time in at that point, it was 13 years. You cannot, under any reason, trade Luka Doncic because you think he's fat and lazy. And you're seeing it right now. You're seeing him go crazy with the Lakers. Guess what? He's in shape. He's in the best shape of his career. So I think what people don't realize right now is when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, let's just imagine one thing, guys. Imagine they didn't get lucky and get the first round and get the number one pick. Imagine that for just one moment. We would be looking at a team with no present, no future. At least they have Cooper Flag. But guess what? The city will never, ever, ever embrace him the way that they embraced Luka Doncic. That city is in mourning still. This city will never, ever forget this moment. And if Luka goes on to have a successful NBA career, let's say he wins one, let's say he wins two, he will never, ever, ever be forgotten as far as Dallas Mavericks lore goes. And it's sad. They will unless Cooper Flag wins them a championship, multiple championships, they will never forget this moment. Because right here, this changed everything. This changed it all. Guess what? The Rockets, Mavs, and Thunder have their next 3 picks. Yeah, see, at this point, thank you, Live Crew, for this information. At this point, you have to blow it up. You have to see what Anthony Davis gets you. Oh, the Spurs, gotcha. So at this point, you have to decide to blow it up because there's not much else you can do. That's what's next for the Dallas Mavericks. You cannot continue rolling with this team. And sure, let's say they don't trade Anthony Davis or Luka. Or sorry, they already traded Luka. Or Kyrie. Let's say they don't trade them. Okay? What does this mean? I guarantee you they'll win a lot of games at the end of this year. If they still have, I just want to get ahead of the curve before somebody comes out and pretends that they're Einstein, right? I'm going to get ahead of the curve and say it right now. Let's say they don't trade Luka, they don't trade Anthony Davis, and they just keep running it, right? When Kyrie comes back and when Anthony Davis, did I say Luka again? I think I might have said Luka again. Luka's on my mind right now. Let's say they don't trade Kyrie, they don't trade AD, and they still have Cooper Flag. You're going to see this team win a lot of games for the rest of this year. You're going to see that happen. And people are going to think, we're back. We're back. This team is back. See, Jay-Z, they didn't need to trade anybody. I'm here to remind you that bad teams win the most in February and March. Just remember that. Remember that one statistic. Bad teams win a lot of games in February and March. You see it all the time. You've been seeing it. It's been a trend for 50 years. 50 years. So let's not over exaggerate when they start winning some games if they don't make those trades. But I'm here to tell you they should make those trades. Let's move on to our next segment. Guys, just a quick reminder, all my live crew members, whether you're in the TikTok or YouTube or Twitch, you can't like on Twitch, but if you are on YouTube or TikTok, be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It helps more than you can possibly understand. And podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. Sorry for getting a little bit emotional. Let's move on to our next segment. And it's called, Is This a Trend? We've done it before 2 weeks ago. Is this a trend? Okay, so I have 3 topics of discussion, and I want to talk about on whether or not this is a trend that's going to continue or a trend that's not going to continue, okay? The Warriors team sneak dissing Kuminga. This is worrisome. This is worrisome. Let me take a timeout real quick. I have a great question in the live crew. My apologies, y'all. Real question. This is the perks of doing this all live, y'all. This is the perks of doing it all live. So if you guys are watching right now after the fact, be sure to tune into the YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok to get into this conversation live. Real question from Mr. Burp. Do you think Jason Kidd will stay with the Mavs past this year after they make a decision on a new GM with his barely 500 coaching record? Jason Kidd's a great coach. Wherever he goes, they'd be lucky to have him. If the team wants to do a full rebuild, I'm sure Jason Kidd wouldn't mind either. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Now, let's talk about Kuminga. He's being scapegoated yet again. Again. This is not Kuminga's fault at all. This Warriors team, they didn't want to respect Kuminga. They didn't want to extend Kuminga to the contract that he wanted. I'm here to tell you right now, man, this is getting extremely disappointing. Just to see, like, overall, it's very disappointing to see such a dynasty blame it on a guy that has no idea what he's doing wrong. The Warriors looked old last night. They looked old. And in fact, they've looked old all season long. They're 20th in points, 23rd in rebounding, 20th in blocks, 24th in field goals made, 26th in field goals attempted. They are 4th in three-pointers made, but that's because they attempt the 7 most in the league. They're 26th in rebounding, 23rd in turnovers, and 22nd in free throws. The Warriors, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but in the locker room post-game, they were all asked, what happened? What happened? What happened to this loss? Because they got smoked. They got killed last night. What was the final score with the Thunder? It was 126-102, and it wasn't even that close. So first and foremost, I want to discuss what they were saying in the locker room. They were all saying that there's a certain person in there that's not meshing well. That's not doing what they need to do. They don't know what they need to be doing right now. They're all talking about Kuminga. This is unfair. Trade him. Because I think they can trade him on January 15th. I think that's the time where they're able to trade his extended contract for 2 years. Just trade him. Because at this point, you are wasting his career, right? He's wasting his time. I don't know if Kuminga is going to be anything special in this league. But what I will tell you is he's not the reason why they're losing these games. I'll show you the reasons why. You had the highest minutes in the game was Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga played 24 minutes. He had 13 points. He was 6 for 9, but he was a minus 20 on the court. Guess what? Steph Curry, 20 minutes, 11 points, minus 23. That's almost the team low. Moses Moody off the bench, 10 points, minus 25 when he was on the court. Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler are not built to be playing together. And that's something that they have to learn. It looked good, but now that you're realizing that Jimmy needs his touches, And Draymond Green needs the ball to get Curry involved to set those illegal screens that he always does. They're realizing that this team does not have enough shooting. This team doesn't have enough movement. This team does not have enough in general. They're too small, they're too old, and they haven't been keeping up with today's NBA. They may have started this three-point revolution, but I'll tell you this much. They're getting lost in the shuffle of it. They're getting lost. They're getting lost behind. So what I'll say about this team is it's not Steph Curry's fault. He's doing what he can. In fact, I will go as far as to say I would put more blame on Steve Kerr than I would on Jonathan Kuminga. That's right. I would put more blame on Steve Kerr's lineups. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Why are your star players playing 20 minutes a game? I understand it was a blowout, but you can look at other games as well. His lineups are ass. My apologies, podcast listeners, for screaming. This team is old. This team is very old. And something that the Los Angeles Lakers did that the Warriors didn't in the offseason was get younger. The Lakers are one of the youngest teams in the league. And they also have a generational talent in Luka Doncic now in their grasp, who just got extended. The Warriors got older in the summer. They added Al Horford, who's 39. They still don't have DeAnthony Melton. The issue with this team is not their schemes. It's that their schemes don't work with how old these players are. So overall, what I can say about the Golden State Warriors, is this a trend that the Warriors are going to continue sneak dissing to Kuminga? Yes. Yes, it is a trend. Yes, I see this continuing. I see Jonathan Kuminga hitting the trade market this season, and I think he will finally get traded. I don't know for who. I don't know for what, but I think this is near the end for Jonathan Kuminga. They didn't want to extend him. He wanted a 4-year deal. They wouldn't give it to him. He wanted a 3-year deal. They wouldn't give it to him. So they settled on a 2-year deal. I think it's time the Warriors move on from Kuminga. Let him be happy somewhere else. Let him figure out if he's an actual NBA player or not. I think it's time, because this might get very, 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 very bad here soon. And, I started the season saying that the Warriors are different. I started to say that. I said the Warriors are different. I believe his second year is a team option. I'm not sure. Or I think he might have just got 2 guaranteed years on his contract. I'd have to look. So a lot of people in the live crew right now on the Twitch stream are saying, like, they're talking about contracts. They're talking about like blowing it up. No, they're not going to blow it up. So here's the thing. In case you guys don't know, the Golden State Warriors have aligned all of their contracts to expire in 2027. I think they only have one player on the entire team that goes beyond 2027. All of their players are set to expire in 2027. And that's because they are expecting Steph Curry to retire. Now, here's what I'll say. I don't think Steph Curry is going to retire in 2027. He's still too good to retire. That's if he wants to go be a family man, go be with his wife, who doesn't want to be with him. That's up to him. But I don't think he's going to retire. And if Steph Curry is telling you that he's not going to retire, they're not going to let Steph Curry walk. Steph Curry's a Warrior for life. They are not going to let him walk. So they unfortunately, for the Warriors, have to bring him back. It's not unfortunate. They have to bring him back. So what's beyond 2027? I have no idea. The Warriors are not blowing it up. The Warriors always believe that they are going to be in the mix of things. And they started the season off hot. They looked great. And now it's like teams have figured them out low key. And I know Curry has slowly come back. This is his first game back, and he's trying to get back into the rotation of things. I'm a huge fan of Steph Curry. I don't think he's going to retire in 2027. I don't see that happening. But I think what they do need to, they just need to move on from Jonathan Kuminga. It's not working out. It's not working out. Yes, I believe this trend will continue of them sneak dissing Jonathan Kuminga. I don't see that ending anytime soon. Somebody also asked, BZ asked, did the Heat win the trade? Too early to tell. Way too early to tell. The Miami Heat are a very rhythm team. If they get stuck, then they'll be stuck for a while. If they got hot, they'll be hot for a while. But yeah, the Heat need rhythm, and right now they're in a decent rhythm with their players being out. So we'll see who ends up winning the trade. I don't know if Andrew Wiggins is truly going to keep. I think he will. I think he'll keep it up. But teams slowly will start to figure the Miami Heat's offense out. They don't set pick and rolls. They don't set screens whatsoever. They just play a motion offense like I was in middle school, and it works because teams just don't know how to guard it right now. Anyways, we're not talking about the Miami Heat. Let's move on to our next topic. Is this a trend? The Knicks offense is firing from all cylinders. First and foremost, I want to say I'm not involved with all of the Pistons fans beef versus the Knicks fans beef. I don't understand why I don't know why Knicks fans, it's not Pistons fans. I don't know why Knicks fans are trying to force this rivalry with the Detroit Pistons. It's not making much sense to me. On Twitter, everyone, they're all saying, because Brunson had a good game yesterday. Brunson's a great player. I love watching Brunson play, not when he's against the Detroit Pistons because he's a foul bait merchant, right? What I will say about the Knicks is they're trying to force this narrative that the Pistons and Knicks are rivals. They're not rivals. They played one time in the playoffs. They are not rivals. So let's look at the Knicks offense, and you can come to a conclusion on yourself by yourself on whether or not their offense can stay like this. And I'll tell you what I think if this is a trend. They're 6th in points scored. They're 7th in rebounding. They're 8th in assists. They're 9th in field goals made, 4th in field goals attempted, 19th in field goal percentage. They're number 1 in three-pointers made. They're number 3 in three-pointers attempted. They're number 6 in three-point percentage. They're 24th in free throws made. And they're only 7th in turnovers committed. And they're 4th in fouls committed. The New York Knicks offense right now is terrifying. I'm telling you this as a Knicks bystander. I'm not a fan of the Knicks. They are on freaking fire right now. They are on fire. And I don't see an end in sight. And I'll tell you right now, Jalen Brunson doesn't even scare me the most on this team. He doesn't scare me the most. When you guys are bored, when you guys got some free time, do yourself a favor. Don't do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Look at how Cade is defended, and then look at how Jalen Brunson is defended. And then question yourself why Knicks fans every single night are all disrespecting Cade Cunningham. I can sit here all day and not say one bad thing about Jalen Brunson. But Knicks fans can sit here and talk all day about why Jalen Brunson is better than Cade Cunningham. Every day. Jalen Brunson hasn't seen a double team in weeks. Cade Cunningham has just broken a record that this is an insane stat, so listen up. In all 306,000 double teams that have ever happened in the NBA, Cade, 2 games ago against the 76ers, was just double teamed the most in NBA history. Jalen Brunson hasn't seen a double team in weeks because when you look at his team, that's where the real danger comes from. Yes, Jalen Brunson is the head of the snake, but I'm most terrified of OG Anunoby, of Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is finally getting consistent. He's getting his touches, 22 points. OG Anunoby, 16 points. It was 1 for 10 from deep, but my God. Karl Anthony Towns, 21 points, 13 rebounds. Landry Shamet, 10 points. Jalen Brunson, 32 points. Josh Hart, 8. Jordan Clarkson, 13. Has been incredible. What I will say, the one bad thing about the New York Knicks is Gershon Yabusele. Why did this guy just decide to get obese when he got back into the NBA? This guy was playing in the Olympics, if you guys all remember. He was playing, I think, for the French team? I think. And he looked incredible. He fought his way back into the NBA. He fought his way back. He said, world, look at me. I deserved a spot back in the NBA. And guess what he did last year? He played incredibly well. If not one of the best players all year round. He was the most consistent player for the Philadelphia 76ers all last season. And I'll die on that hill. He played like the most games, I think. And he was the most consistent out of anybody that played for the Philadelphia 76ers last year. He gets his 2-year contract from the New York Knicks and gets fat. Why? Why did you do this? You were back in the NBA, man. I don't know if Yabusele is going to get another contract after this one, but he's just not looking good. He's not looking good. But Jordan Clarkson looks great off the bench. My God, he looks great. And this is all stemming. And I told you guys, I said the Knicks are going to start off slow this year. They're going to. Insert Mike Brown. The offense is going to work so differently. Jalen Brunson isn't going to be dribbling the clock for 22 out of the 24 seconds. The ball is going to be swinging. The ball is going to be moving. Everyone's going to be getting touches. And guess what? They're figuring it out every single game. The NBA should be scared. Because when teams can double and triple team Cade because they're not guarding Ron Holland at the 3, they're not guarding Asar Thompson at the 3, they can't double team Jalen Brunson because it's pick your poison. You want Mikal to put it in the corner. You want OG to put it in the corner. You want Landry Shamet to put a shot up, probably miss it, but then Karl Anthony Towns gets the offensive rebound and then he gets a 3. It's unbelievable. Apparently, Yabusele's field goal percentage just cut entirely in half since signing that Knicks contract from 50% to 26%. So, yeah, Yabusele is not doing what the Knicks expected. So, the question is this a trend? The Knicks offense firing from all cylinders? Yes, I think this is a trend. Bringing Josh Hart off the bench has been a great help to this team. He's really exerting. I mean, he's still playing 30 minutes a game, so it's not really like changing anything. And I think Mike Brown might get a ring. I don't know. I don't know. The Knicks are playing incredibly well. And I hate the Knicks. I really do not like them. Their fan base as well. Hate them all. Don't like the Knicks. But I can respect good basketball. And they are playing great basketball right now. They really, really are. So I think this offense will continue. And I said it again. I'll say this one more time for my live crew because I got a couple Heat fans in here who get really, really tilted if you mention anything about any team that they don't like. The New York Knicks are, I said that they'd start this year off slow. And every single game, they are getting stronger and stronger and stronger and freaking stronger. Every game. It's only going to continue to happen. Let's move on to our last topic of this segment. I know this podcast has been kind of long, but here we go. Is this a trend? This trade deadline will be the one that we remember for years to come. Now, in case you guys don't remember, Shams, he said that this offseason would be one that we would never forget. I already forgot it. That 7-team trade with Durant. Who cares? It's Kevin Durant. It's 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Who cares? I already forgot this offseason. Who cares? But will this trade deadline be one that we remember for years to come? Now let's look at just real quick. I don't want to linger on this topic too long because it's mostly speculation based off of rumors. You got Lauri Markkanen for the Utah Jazz. I think it's time. Lauri Markkanen, you are a Detroit Pistons. Let's look somewhere else. Nico Harrison, we talked about it already. I think Anthony Davis is on the trade block. Genuinely. I think Anthony Davis, the reason that they fired Nico Harrison is quite simple. Nico Harrison can't trade Anthony Davis. He was not able to. He couldn't. Not after the shit he pulled off. Wasn't allowed to. So, Anthony Davis, I believe, is on the trade block. Let's look elsewhere. We already mentioned him. Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's on the trade block. I think he is. And you can look all around the league right now. But there's one name that continues to jump out at you. Talked about him last week a lot. His name is John Morant. That's right, Jonathan Morant. Oh, Ja. You are horrible. I'm sorry. Wow. How the mighty have fallen. Ja Morant is not looking good. It is not looking good whatsoever. This season, Jonathan Morant, Ja Morant, is averaging less than 19 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal. He's shooting 35% from the field. And just wait. Right now, he is shooting 16.7% from three-point land. 16.7%. It's not going to happen. This is not it. This isn't working. Miami, please do not trade for this. Pat Riley, I know you're old. I know you've probably had multiple cataract surgery. Do not do this. He's not going to help your team. He's not going to help. Minnesota, if you fail again this year, yes, I give you permission to go from defense to offense. Trade Gobert, trade Bob Dillingham. I give you permission, if you guys fail again this year, to trade Gobert and Rob Dillingham for Ja Morant. In the meantime, if I see Ja Morant join your team, we ain't worried. We are not worried about 16.7% from deep. We're not worried about it. Miami would have to trade Tyler Hero in order to make that trade happen, just so everybody's clear. The money lines up. You would have to trade Hero if you were to get Ja. So let's just get that straight. I think it's time. I think the only reasonable place would be Minnesota, and that's if Minnesota decides to go all defense into all offense. So I think Ja Morant's going to be the main guy at this trade deadline. But there's a lot more names out there. There's a lot more names. I'm very interested to see how this year pans out as far as the trade deadline goes. I think it should be interesting. That's for sure. I think one team that you're going to see hyper active by the trade deadline is the Sacramento Queens. They just came out yesterday and said that they are heavily looking at reloading their team. Not rebuilding, reloading. Because Sacramento doesn't rebuild. Sacramento likes to just stay mediocre enough to not get a number one pick, but not good enough to actually make the playoffs. So I've been seeing Sabonis' name swirl around. I've been seeing Zach LaVine's name, nobody wants the contract, swirl around. I've been seeing DeMar DeRozan swirl around. I've been seeing Malik Monk swirling around since last summer. And all Kings fans right now hate Dennis Schroeder. And I called it. Dennis Schroeder is not a starting point guard. They're starting him. Dennis Schroeder's a backup. And you paid him way too much money. I think this trade deadline is going to be very interesting. So is this a trend? Yes, I believe that this is going to be a trend. I think this trade deadline is going to see a huge mix-up around the league. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this trade line is going to be one to remember. And guys, with that is going to do it for today's podcast. All right? I want to remind y'all, leave a 5-star rating and review for my podcast listeners on Spotify and Apple. For my live crew, again, I appreciate everybody watching on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. I appreciate y'all more than you could possibly ever understand. Be sure to drop a like on any platform you're watching. And if you guys want to catch these podcasts live, because we do them live, because everyone else is afraid of doing these live because they want to sit back and relax. No, I'm ready for stutters. I'm ready for some mistakes that I make that you guys correct me on. I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching / listening. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. All right? Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.